With the release of Chaos Raids, everybody has been spending a lot of time running dungeons because dungeons are going to be your primary way to get geared up. Everyone wants to get their weapon enchanted. People want to get good bonus attributes on their gear. And not only that, but we also have the dungeon reset feature available as well. So on a single character, you can run up to 60 dungeons per week. Now that's all great, especially if you're trying to get geared. The thing is, well, if you end up doing so many dungeons, it can be pretty easy to either just get tired of them, bored of them, or maybe overall just burnt out. And this is definitely something I've experienced a little bit. I'm at a total of 128 Fire Dragon runs on my character, and I know that there's plenty of people out there with way more runs than me. So what I wanted to do today is just talk about some other stuff that there is to do in Maplestory 2 that might break up the grind of doing dungeons over and over. Now, these are not going to be time-limited things. These are things that you can spend as much or as little time as you want working on, and hopefully you can find a couple things in this list to kind of break up the grind of doing dungeons over and over. So with that being said, let's get right to it and let's open up the map, because the first few things do have to do with the map. And the first thing is going to be world bosses. Now, when level 60 first came out, when they introduced the level cap increase from 50 to 60 from the open beta to the full release for free-to-play, the level cap was expanded and world bosses were super popular because it was actually the quickest way to get your character leveled up from 50 to 60. But even now, if you're already level 60, there's plenty of stuff that you can get out of going out there and hunting world bosses. World bosses are going to give you mesos, they're going to give you equipment which you can end up dismantling to give you onyx crystals, and they're also going to give you those green and blue crystals which you can use to reroll either your gear or reroll the bonus talents that you have on your pets. Now, a couple of little tips that I'll go ahead and give you guys, and this won't just be for world bosses. I'll throw a few tips at a whole bunch of different stuff that I'll mention in this video, but a few things to note are there's plenty of world bosses out there. Sometimes the map can get a little bit crowded, sometimes it can get a little bit empty. Not all world bosses are actively hunted by players. Some of them will kind of be empty, but when you do find one that is being hunted by players, something that I would say is try going to the lower instance number. So we'll just use the giant turkey event boss as an example. I wouldn't hunt this one because it's just the event boss and it's not going to give you all the items that I mentioned, but I would go to the lower channel numbers like channel 5 before I would go to the channel 31, 32, and 52, because generally speaking, that's where the crowd of people are going to go, and the crowd of people is just going to make it quicker, more efficient, and you can end up getting more boss kills in per time period. So when in doubt, I always say when it comes to world bosses, when in doubt, follow the crowd. Next up also has to do with the map, and I have it open right now, something I've been slacking on a lot because me personally, this is just not one of my favorite things to do, and that's totally fine. I'm going to mention a whole bunch of things throughout this video, and I'm sure you're not going to like doing everything. For me, I am not a big fan of this, but if you are, or you want to end up getting some extra stats or extra stuff for your character, that is going to be your world exploration goals. Now you can see I have a lot of work left to do on my character. Hopefully I'll get it done eventually, but it might be a while before I do. You can end up going around to each of the little different zones, and essentially these are just little mini quests or mini objectives that will give you these star points, and when you end up reaching certain numbers of star points, you get a whole bunch of different rewards. You actually end up getting attribute points up to a certain point, you get some potions and some other little things, and when you get to the higher points, you get pretty large amounts of mesos as well. So there's a lot of time that you can spend on those map exploration goals if you want. Now, a little tip I'll go ahead and give to those of you guys who do have the premium club in the game. You might notice my map is all colorful and lit up. I actually went around and I did explore all the zones. I didn't actually get the map points, but I just went around quickly to every single zone to unlock the little tiny things, such as the taxis as well. I'd recommend doing this at least 1 point if you do buy premium, just in case you ever decide not to have premium active on your account. You at least have your map at least looking similar to mine, and you also will have your taxi points as well if you ever decide to use the taxi system in the future. All right, now I think that's everything with maps. Let's talk about something else, another very, very big time sink and meso sink in the game. And that is something I've spent a little bit of time working on, but I'm going to be doing a lot more in the future. That is going out there and hunting pets. Now, I actually also leveled up my pet taming skill. You can do this if you want. This is so you can end up crafting your own snares, or you can end up buying snares off of the black market. It's up to you. But going out there and capturing pets is going to be pretty big, and I think it's going to get even bigger as we get further along into the game. Not only just the chance of getting an epic pet, but of course, everybody needs pet experience, so the demand for white pets, green pets, and blue pets is always going to be there as well. This is a great way to spend time and maybe also try to get lucky, because if you can go out there and capture an epic pet, you're going to be very, very rich. Let's just take a quick look at what the price of epic pets are right now. What, that is insane. 300 million mesos? Wow. I mean, that's actually crazy. So consider yourself a very, very rich person if you do somehow get lucky and find yourself capturing an epic pet. Alright, next up on the list is going to be something else with exploration, and that is going to be going out there and finding and hunting treasure chests. Something else that I really haven't spent too much time doing. I know a couple of treasure chests off the top of my head, like I know the one in Wallowville, but you could find plenty of information out there online as to the locations of plenty of the different treasure chests out there in the game, and treasure chests are going to give you a whole bunch of different stuff, but they are also going to end up giving you those keys, which you can end up doing for your treasure dungeons. So if you want to go out there and hunt treasure chests, something else you can end up adding to the list. Now, another thing that I want to talk about is something I have mentioned before in a video, but something you can spend a lot of time grinding away at, and something that is going to make you very rich is if you want to break up the grind of doing dungeons and maybe spend a little bit of time solo, you could just go out there and kill monsters. Just grinding monsters is going to give you a lot of stuff. The primary thing that you're going to get from grinding monsters is going to be potion solvents, so it's a great way to end up making money. In fact, you're probably going to be making close to 1 million, if not over 1 million mesos per hour. I'm not going to really get into too much of the details because I already have a few videos out there when it comes to potion solvents. In fact, one of them did very, very well. It has a lot of views on the channel. I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen it, but that's something else you can spend a lot of time doing if you do get bored of doing dungeons, and it's going to make you quite a bit of mesos. There's not really one particular place that I want to point out. Of course, I mentioned Lulu Village in that one video, but there's plenty of other spots that you can go out there and hunt potion solvents. The one thing that I would recommend is definitely make sure to be killing monsters that are very close to your level. So if you are level 60 in Lulu Village, all the monsters are pretty close to level 60. You kind of pick any of these zones here. Just make sure you are killing monsters close to your level so that you're getting as many of those potion solvents as you possibly can. Now let's talk about something that I don't think I've really mentioned that much, and we're going to go all the way to the other side of the map for this one, and instead of farming potion solvents, I was going to say solving potion farmants or something like that. Instead of farming potion solvents, what you can do is you can go to these high-level PvP zones, and you can farm Treva. Now, Treva is a completely new type of currency. I might have mentioned it once or twice before, but you can use it to buy a whole bunch of stuff from the Shadow Supply Merchant in Obsidian Village. And the primary source of how you're going to get Treva is you go to these high-level PvP zones, and what you're going to do is you're going to look for these red dots on the map. Now, when you end up killing these red-named monsters, there's a chance that they actually spawn a portal. And when you go into this portal, you're going to have a time limit. There's going to be a short little objective, usually killing a few monsters or killing a mini-boss. And when you end up completing that objective, it's going to spawn a bunch of chests. That is going to give you a whole bunch of different stuff, including mesos, onyx crystals, and this currency Treva, which you can actually find in your wallet as well. Now, when you end up getting this Treva, you can go to the Obsidian Mount, go to the Shadow Supply Merchant, and that's where you can end up spending it. So if you go to Obsidian Mount and you go to the Obsidian Mount Shelter, this is where you're going to spend that currency. Next up is something that obviously is a little bit more AFK or a little bit more passive, but not something I have actually talked about too much before. That is going to be spending some time on fishing and performing. Now, I've actually spent a little bit of time on fishing myself. I'm intermediate 3 right now, and fishing is an okay way to make some mesos. If you get to the higher levels, you can essentially AFK meso farm, but it's obviously not going to be nearly as good as plenty of the other ways in the game where you actually have to be active. But not only is fishing going to give you mesos, but fishing and performing are also going to give you prestige experience as well. If you're still leveling up your character, they're going to give you regular experience. It's just another fun thing to do as well if you're looking to break up the grind and monotony of doing other stuff. And a little bonus as well is while we have this event going on, the Maplestory event, which is in Queenstown, I'll actually head over here really quickly. Fishing and performing are going to end up giving you one of the items that you need for this Maplestory event. You can end up feeding the Maplestory a total of 10 times, so it's actually not a bad idea for everybody, even if you are not really too big into fishing or performing and those really aren't the things for you. It's not too bad of an idea for everyone to spend at least a little bit of time doing some fishing and performing while this event is going on, because you will end up getting those fertilizers for the Maplestory. I don't actually have them in my inventory, but they'll give you these maple leaves, and you can end up spending these maple leaves at the event guide and get a whole bunch of different stuff. Next up is something that I personally do really enjoy doing, and something that I have spent a lot of time working on is going to be working on life skills. Now, I'm not really talking about gathering. Gathering is something that you probably should be doing at least a little bit every single day. At the very least, do the higher level nodes so that you end up getting experience. The last 3 nodes in your gathering skills are going to end up giving you mastery. So at the very least, I would do those if you don't have your gathering skills maxed out. But when it comes to crafting, I do actually have all my crafting maxed out. Now, you can actually spend a lot of time working on this every single day. Even though it says there is a daily crafting limit, this is not for all your items. This is just for one particular item. So if you want to semi-AFK or kind of play Maplestory 2 while maybe doing some other stuff, watching some YouTube videos, maybe like this one, right? Or some other videos on my channel, what you can do is you can kind of half work on crafting because you don't really have to actively be there 100%. You can kind of semi-AFK this, like if I were to craft all these silver ingots, I can kind of do other stuff while crafting, and this is definitely a great way to not only end up killing some time, but also to end up fulfilling that prestige experience. If you guys have not got your full 100% or what free million, it's not really free, but your bonus 1 million prestige experience, crafting items is a great way to end up fulfilling that goal while semi being AFK. Same as fishing and performing as well. Definitely make sure that you guys are at least getting your 1 million bonus prestige experience every single day. Now, there's 2 other things that I want to mention. I didn't want to mention these until the end because these are probably the last things that I would work on, or, you know, these are things you could obviously get very carried away with when it comes to your time. And first of all, I'll mention the user-generated content and housing of the game. Now, you could get super carried away with the housing. This is something I have not really been working on. In fact, if you visit my house, or to those of you guys who have crashed my house, you'll see it's pretty, it's not really a house. It's more of a meso farm right now. I just haven't really had the time to work on user-generated content stuff that much, but there is a lot that you can do, and definitely one of the things that Maplestory 2 is very, very well known for. So whether it's housing, whether it's designing your own stuff, you can go around all the different places in the world and see how much effort, how much work, and time people have actually spent into the user-generated content aspect of Maplestory 2. So it's not just about the dungeons and the raids. That's obviously a big part of the game. There's a whole world of other stuff that there is out there to do. Now, if after everything that I ended up mentioning, if there's still other stuff that you want to do, you can do what I did earlier on in the game, and I'll actually switch over to my character select screen for this, and you can end up working on alt characters. Now, alt characters don't really have to just serve one purpose. You can kind of pick and choose why you're making your alts, whether you want to explore new classes, whether you want to make alts and level them up to make mesos, or whether you want to make alts for different reasons. Obviously, my alts, I haven't really been playing that much recently because I've been busy with so much other stuff in the game, but you can kind of approach making alt characters in Maplestory 2 however you want. There's really no one way to make alts. It's not just to explore new classes. It's not just to get more dungeon runs. You can do them, you can use them for dailies, you can use them for life skills, and that's a whole new world that you can end up getting involved with if you are bored of just playing one character alone. So I've thrown a lot of stuff in this video, and I'm sure there's plenty of other stuff that I ended up missing out on. There's a lot of stuff to do in Maplestory 2, and while it's really tempting to kind of get carried away with the dungeons and the raids, that definitely seems to be the hot topic going on right now. If you guys feel a bit overwhelmed, tired, bored, just burnt out on that stuff, definitely feel free to explore plenty of the other things that the game does have to offer. So with that being said, I'm going to leave it here for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully you were able to find a couple of little things that you can do when you get bored of doing dungeons or raids, and I'm hoping that it helped out. So if you guys enjoyed the video, consider leaving a quick like. If you're new to the channel and you guys are interested in more videos like this in the future, consider subscribing, and of course a big thank you everyone for all the support. If you're interested in the November giveaway, I only mention this at the end of the videos of course, but once a month I host a giveaway on the channel. It's going to be for a $50 Nexon NX or a $50 Steam gift card. So if you guys are interested, the link is in the description where it says November giveaway. Plenty of ways to enter, of course, the easiest of which, be a subscriber to the channel for 2 tickets and leave a like on the video for a bonus ticket. So thanks again everyone. If you missed out on some other videos on the channel, they should be popping up on the screen right about now. Feel free to check them out if you want, but if not, until next time, this is Salt of the Salty Guild, signing out.